humble messengers that just so happen to moonlight as secret operatives, freelance investigators with action-packed expense accounts are always on call, always ready, always standing by, waiting for the green light to our next top secret mission. Nothing happened yesterday, people, but I think there's one scheduled for later today. Don't know, can't talk about it. In fact, guys like me are the real Minuteman. And no, TC, you naughty little girl, I do not mean Minuteman the way you're thinking. Good grief, girl, get your mind out of the gutter. Minuteman, like 1776. Good morning, everyone. It is the day of the Lord, Sunday, the Lord's Day, July 2nd, 2023. And in a few days, two very significant birthdays will occur. July 3rd, tomorrow is the first one. Great, yet humble American. No names, people. Humility would prevent it. Let me just say, it would be a great day if this channel's naughty little girl, oh yeah, TC, would come up to the bottom Peter Pit in Willow City, USA, with those most delicious soft peanut butter cookies. It's amazing that for a girl that only likes things hard, she can deliver a batch of soft cookies that toothless, tired old fuckers can enjoy. What do you say, kid? And a little more fluff before we get to the stuff. Speaking of old people, the boomers. Yeah, I'll tell you what, they are really getting under my skin. And the irony is, I am one of them. I am a boomer. No, go figure that. It must be self-hate, kind of like Murray dealing with the free baptism I will eventually have to give him. By the way, Murray, I don't use water. Murray likes the free part, but the baptism, not so much. And, of course, the second big day is July 4th. America's, oh God, what is it now, 246th birthday? Oh, you guys can do the math. And are you guys going to celebrate Tuesday the 4th? Some motorcycle activities, perhaps? Tea at the lake, perchance. Fireworks displayed later in that evening. Drinking some almost free Bud Light, maybe? Well, please allow me the privilege of being one of the first to rain on your parade, people. Population swamping. Yep. Wide open borders. Invasions. In short, today's America is nothing like the America of 1776. Hell, today's America is nothing like 1950s America. And leaving religion out of it, believe that or not, where would I lay the blame for the mess? The now irreversible mess we all find ourselves in today's America. You got it. The boomers. The boomers and the goddamn greatest generation that raised us. Yep, I'm painfully aware. We don't have to speak German in Detroit or Chirac or L.A., but can somebody identify for me the languages now spoken in America's once great cities? This is your lucky day, people. For at great expense to me, I have lined up for you a guest speaker to finish out today's podcast. A very fitting sermonette about July 4th, 2023. And knowing some of you won't listen to all the sermonette before you switch off, I'm going to tell you I'm leaving a link to a 4-minute video. 4 minutes. Come on, even Punky's got 4 minutes to kill. How would a nuclear war between Russia and the U.S. affect you personally? And it's a hot topic, people. Something you might want to consider. It's well done considering the 4-minute time constraint. And the video, I'm disappointed, doesn't factor in the cool toys those goddamn Russians have, like hypersonic missiles, tsunami torpedoes, and barrel bombs. Suffice it to say, it will be a hell of a show. It's like driving a motorcycle, people. It's not a question of if you're going to have an accident. It's only a question of when. So, let me play this for you. Mr. T-Von Stack, not a Native American, from the sense you're thinking, and his podcast, Land of My Ancestors. Here we go, people. A little bit of noise to start it out with.
This family has been on this continent for over 300 years. My father's family arrived on this continent nearly 400 years ago. Faced with oppression in Europe, they indulged their fight-or-flight instincts and risked everything they had for a chance to build their own life out of the reach of the ruling class. My family, those that survived the long months' journey across the sea, and the harsh winters that awaited them in the wilderness they set out to tame, were adventurers and pioneers. They settled the eastern seaboard and built the first communities in what would later become the United States. With their bare hands, they carved towns and cities out of the earth that still stand today. As life became easier, the softer men arrived, and a new establishment began to grow in these cities. My family grew uneasy with the influence these velvet-gloved aristocrats had, and chose once more to venture into the wilderness to escape. Again they traveled west, sometimes on foot, for hundreds of miles through dangerous uncharted lands that claimed the lives of many of them. When I was a boy, my grandfather shared with me the journal of his great-great-grandfather, who was one of these men, a pioneer that had led settlers across the North American continent. It was startling to read how frequently and easily he recorded the death of a family member, including his own children, lost to disease or the elements or some combination of the two. Death was the price of freedom for many of these ancestors of mine, and they paid it without hesitation. When I was young, I had the opportunity to visit the remains of a cabin that my great-great-grandfather had built with his own hands. The same harsh climate that had claimed the lives of 3 of his children had reduced the cabin to its foundation over the years, but I was still able to walk on the same dirt floor where my great-grandfather played as a child and look at the same forests and mountain ranges he saw every morning as he started his day in the land that his father had tamed. Land that my family has fought in war after war to defend. Land that they settled from coast to coast, east to west. And now here I stand, a descendant of these men, a man whose family predates this nation by over a century. I'm told that all of this means nothing, that we are just a nation of immigrants. I am told by the families and the descendants of families who came to this continent not to risk their lives and their wealth, but to collect the treasure and wealth that my family cultivated and provided. Families that rode gently down the river of my family's blood, that I am an immigrant, no different than they are. And to add insult to injury, no different than those who today violate the laws of my ancestors and the borders they fought and died to define, borders they hoped would protect their descendants. And as they seek to distort the history of my people, as they blame my family for slavery, a practice none of my ancestors participated in, and if they did, it was they who were the indentured servants, not the masters. As I see these carpetbaggers and these locusts come to harvest the fields my family plowed for centuries, I feel, because it has been bred in my bones, the need to once again venture out into the wilderness to escape the leeches. But there's nowhere to go. We can no longer flee to the west. We cannot act as our ancestors did by abandoning the cities we built to the parasites who have arrived, fleeing our communities and allowing them to feast upon the fruits of our labor while we search for new frontiers to tame and flee to preserve our freedom. We have been desperately looking for a solution to this growing feeling inside of us. The same feeling that drove our ancestors across the Atlantic and then across the continent. An anxiety that drives the wild animal within to risk self-harm, to escape imminent danger when the chances for survival begin to drop dangerously near zero. There is nowhere to go this time. And that anxiety you feel building up inside is the wild animal that drove your ancestors into the wilderness, slowly coming to the realization that it has become cornered.
Well, there you go, people. I couldn't have done a better job myself. Let me say that. Devon Stack from Blackpilled, you ought to check him out. Excellent job. The moon crickets, the leeches, and the locusts, they're here, people. They are reproducing, and hordes more are en route. Yep. Where do we go? What do we do about it? Our ancestors sacrificed much, left us a lot. What did we do with that? I think we pissed it away. We still have time to ponder this question, but time is running out. And very soon, sooner than we think, we all will be forced to answer the questions. Where do we go? And what do we do about it? And speaking of doing, you know what I'm going to tell you? I got stuff to do.